The big question is, though, what are strategists saying happens from here?
Yeah, well, the UK economy seems to be at a little bit of a turning point here. On the one hand, inflation is looking very high at the moment, and what that's doing is it's squeezing the consumer, so it means people have got less to spend, particularly as wages aren't rising as fast as inflation is. That's put the stock market has put investors in a bit of a quandary, because on the one hand, the Bank of England is looking at the inflation and thinking, you know, do we need to raise interest rates to keep a lid on that? On the other hand, it's looking at the companies, the retailers who are struggling because you know, sales are down because people just don't have as much to spend. So I think that kind of crunch point that we're seeing is making it very hard to tell where we go from here. So estimates for the end of the year, I think, are basically for the FTSE to end pretty much unchanged.
Yeah, 7,500, I think, is the level, yeah. Now, you mentioned companies there. Matt, I want to turn to you because you've done some great reporting going all around the country, talking to various companies. What have they been saying a year on?
Well, opinions, as you can imagine, Nejra, are somewhat divided. There were Brexiteers in the corporate world, not very many, but certainly some. You also have a large proportion of business owners, of chief executives who were Remainers, but really just want to borrow a phrase from Theresa May, get on with it. Whatever is coming, they want it to happen so they can at least have some certainty and plan their businesses, plan their investments accordingly.
Paul, let me ask you, we have a chart here, it's 5339 in our chart library, and the blue line, if we can see it, is actually showing wages dropping, and the white line, as you said, is inflation rising. Does that trend continue, or at some point does it reverse when there's more certainty, or if the central bank does something else?
I don't think that we're seeing a great deal of hope that wages are rising particularly fast. The impact from the weaker pound on inflation is obviously something that's particularly important at the moment. But the fact that policymakers are starting to express concerns about it tells you that, you know, there's a worry here that it's not going to go away, that squeeze is going to continue. I think that's also the dilemma that investors have to consider when they're making their decisions about where we go from here on the pound and on the rates markets too.